Hello, everyone. Oh, this is interesting. We haven't done a video like this before. I'm Mike, CEO of Arcane Circle, and today we have both Isaac and Alicia, both the leads of the development company, MonsterShed Games, and the publishing company, Liminal Pendulum. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
You've been kind of crafting up and developing and publishing a TTRPG game right now, and I would very much love to learn more about it. So, from my
I'm
understanding,
down with that.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's DungeonVille is the name of the project right now.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing a little bit more details of what this entails?
Well, DungeonVille came from both the want and the need for wanting to play TTRPGs, stuff like Dungeons and Dragons or Call of Cthulhu or Pathfinder, but never really being able to get enough people together for a long enough time. And so in the back of my head, I'm just like, okay, what could I do that's super that gives that Dungeons and Dragons feel, that TTRPG vibe, but without all of the build up, without the huge time commitment. Like, you just have a little bit of time when the stars align and the moon is blue. Okay, we're having game night tonight. Let's play DungeonVille. That's kind of where it all started from, and it's very much the spirit of the game as well.
When it comes to the coming from like the tabletop scene, I agree that there is a lot of setup, and it's definitely sort of something we're really aware of like having to get people together, having to schedule on average 3 hours, maybe 4 hours worth of session, and then building up notes and all that stuff. Is there any like major differences between DungeonVille and, let's say, D&D, since that is sort of the most predominantly played TTRPG out there? Like, is there a shorter setup time? Is there, what are the key differences?
There's definitely a shorter setup time. You can get very into the weeds, like how much of this character do you want to add, like the extra bells and whistles. Like, do you want to give this character a personality, or do you just want to play it stock standard off the card and run it like that? There is some setup involved, but the way the game is structured, it's very read the card. Oh, this goes here. This goes here. I understand that a lot of times comprehension's a very big thing for me, and trying to make sure that, oh, this very clearly shows me what to do, and now I'm playing the game. So that's something that I'm trying to incorporate into the game itself. As far as like other analogous, I guess is the right word, to D&D, it's got that fantasy feel, and it kind of feels like Saturday morning cartoon almost, like between how the characters are represented, the different stuff that happens in the game, how the different mechanics work. You can kind of see it's like, oh, okay, well, I've never played D&D before, but you could probably be led in the right direction to get a good vibe of it off of playing the game. I did take inspiration from several other games, at least in terms of formatting. So, game like Munchkin, for instance.
Yeah.
Played tons of that over the years, and that is one of the things that I liked about it, was how easy it was to get started. Like, you didn't have to consult the book over here to figure out how this works. It was all just very in your hands. That's all you needed to know. It's a few steps above that, but overall, it's that bridge in between Munchkin and D&D. Like, you want something a little bit more, kind of like how a person would jump from chess from checkers. Like, I'm familiar with the board, I'm familiar with game pieces. I just need a little something else to do.
Is there because I know there are a lot of games that try to simplify tabletop role-playing games.
Sure.
With that in mind, is this like there are systems that are out there that are DM-less? Is this one of those systems where you don't really need a GM to walk you through it?
It is possible to play the game without a GM. It is a very self-sustaining. It is a self-sustaining game. Like, read the rules. Rules all fit on one page. And you're like, okay, we can go like this. Funnily enough, the times I've been able to test it, a lot of people just kind of, and it's it's very interesting. A lot of people just have more fun running it rather than actually playing the individual characters, which I never thought I'd actually see, because I've had multiple people, me stepping away from the game, they're all in, like, okay, now you do this, now you do this, now how does this go, and reminding other people how to play, and like getting a new player sits down, they explain it quickly, and they kind of go from there. It is possible to play without a GM, but I also feel like there might be a supplement for people who only want to run it, and maybe a higher level of play at that point.
Yeah, the way you're describing it sounds like it's most, especially when it comes to like Dungeons and Dragons and any tabletop, you kind of want to be the player because you don't want to be the one juggling all the notes. This one almost sounds like you're encouraged to be that person that's world building. And speaking of which, when it comes to like, especially when it comes to tabletop, when you are given the freedom beyond modules to sort of craft worlds, does DungeonVille allow that, or does it provide that sort of availability to, like, let's say I wanted to create my own world. Could I use DungeonVille as sort of my system?
Oh, 100%. One of the things that we were going to do for the crowdfunder was actually have what was called, I think I called it the Artist Appreciation Set, where it was all of the text printed on the cards, but there was no art. And also there were like boxes for titles as well. So if you wanted to make your own art for what do you think a black dragon or a garbage slime would look like, you could, but it also gives you the bits to make your own stuff in that direction. And if, full disclosure, we do intend, if this is successful, to expand on the idea of Dungeon World, because DungeonVille is a system, it is less a setting. And I've been talking to both my beta test group as well as my artists, and they are deeply invested in branching out into different settings, like supernatural horror to sci-fi to Candyland versus the meat monster. Like it's got that it's easy enough to adapt into a lot of different ways, and if people started making their own sets for it, that's crowning achievement as far as I'm concerned.
Awesome. I'm going to start bouncing around a little bit here, but for Alicia, I know that when it comes to Liminal Pendulum, you guys are currently scouring for the best systems that catch your attention, or at least I should say builds and projects. Were you the one approaching Isaac, or was it vice versa?
Well, we worked together at Megavisions, and so we've been friends for
mutual connection. There you go.
Yeah, like 2, 3, 4 years now. I don't know how long
we knew each other in the before times, and then we started working with Megavisions, and then we started working after.
And then he was actually one of the people that I brought in originally as part of Nevermore Niche, but you got busy and I got busy, and then you started doing this, and so I think it was just kind of a mutual. Hey, I was kind of upfront with people who were coming in that I wanted to do publishing eventually, but it was like a 5-year goal, and we just celebrated 2 years this year, so we're way ahead of schedule of what we planned to do. But yeah, I think it was just kind of a mutual thing. It was like, hey, he said, I'm doing this game, I'm building this game, and I'm like, well, do you want to publish it through us? It's like, yep. And so that was that. So it was just, it does make us unique because we are publishing video games as well as board and tabletop and card games and things like that. We're not confining ourselves to just one type of game. And so I think that makes our interest unique. And we are looking for things like DungeonVille that kind of surpasses the idea of a basic deck builder TTRPG. So it just seemed like a good fit for both of us.
I mean, I'll always praise investment in the TTRPG industry, especially since it is very much of it's a type of experience in which, much like you were mentioning, Isaac, someone can just jump in and be like, I like your system and I'm just going to homebrew it. And then your system is able to live on, and it just sort of lives on sort of the path, like beyond what you would expect a normal video game would have in terms of its lifespan. And also, yeah, shout out to Nevermore Niche. That's actually really funny that I remember back in the day when I sort of jumped in, sort of contributing to Nevermore Niche, you were talking about doing publishing back then as well, and it was light mentions, not something huge, but I do remember there being a conversation.
Yeah, we opened in June officially, but we had been discussing publication of this and Frayed Nail since January of 2025, and then we got Boardwalk Builders. I want to say August, I think, is when Joel and I started talking about us publishing Boardwalk Builders, which is a sim management game. And then we've been approached by somebody else as well. So we're in discussions about that. So yeah, so it's it just kind of took off. The developer for Frayed Nail just did Delirium, which is the prologue to that, and she is also part of Nevermore Niche. She's one of our feature writers, and she also is one of my co-hosts for our podcast.
It's like, it's so funny where for both you guys, it's very much of like if someone was coming together to make a comic book, one of you guys did the art, and the other one's like, yeah, I'm already doing writing and story management. It's just sort of a good match. When it comes to, jump again to you, Isaac, when it comes to the actual build of DungeonVille, was the main focus was to grab sort of like the attention of those who like Dungeons and Dragons and say, hey, it's hard, let me simplify it? Was that sort of the main drive to build the system?
Realistically, I think it started whenever because I've been working at before I hardcore started working on this game and actually getting, beta versions of the game out. It kind of started whenever my old gaming groups from years ago kind of broke up, and we were trying to get together to play D&D, and just this or that happened and it just kind of drifted. And I had other friends I could talk to, but everyone worked different schedules. We were able to talk line and we were able to meet up, but never for long enough to really settle in. It's okay, we're writing characters, I got a setting, and we're gonna just roll with it. It never really worked out. So in those long spans of I have no gaming group, is kind of just I gotta do something with this creative energy. I've got to do something with this need to play a game or write. If I can't play a game, I'm gonna make one, dang it. And then I was like, okay, it's gonna have this, it's gonna have this, and it's gonna have this, and I started filling in all those boxes, and then I just never really stopped. And then I remember looking back, I was like, oh my gosh, there's over 200 different cards in this thing now. I've got to... Wow. And they all kind of work now, and okay, the only real thing... I really started digging into it to make it a thing once I was able to find an artist. Because I've been writing for most of my life, and I've always been the ideas guy, and I've always had the stuff is there, but I don't have that artistic talent myself. But I literally bumped into someone who I remember I was working at this one old movie store at the time, and I was like, hey, can I have your email so we could put it in the system, blah blah, retail nonsense. And they handed me their card, and I looked at the card and I'm like, they have ink in their name, I wonder if they draw. And I asked them, and then 2 hours later I'm pitching them the idea, and they had a mental image in their head of what it should look like already. And in the next month or so, we had met up, we had talked about the game, and she was completely bought in. And that's whenever it went from just an idea in a notebook to, okay, this can actually exist. I need this to be great. I don't need this just to be something I want to play. I want other people to play this.
Yeah, it became a fun little idea, and then it became real.
It's
funny. You were on a 50-50 chance there. It could have been an illustrator, or it could have been a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I would have gone. There is an alternate timeline where all of the art looks like tattoo art, and I am okay with that.
That would have been rad. Yeah, in terms of the differences, major differences, Is it a because again most could players play or players and GMs play this for like what we'd assume to be a normal time for like tabletop, like 3 to 4 hours, or does this structure of the system usually have like an endpoint, like it runs 2-hour increments?
The original run of it started going from 1 hour to lasting over 3.5 hours in some of our early play tests, and that's whenever I was like, okay, these ideas are cool, but I can't just throw every cool idea at the wall and expect it to work. Some things have to be sacrificed or tweaked in order for it to be an actual good functioning game. In its current state, it's anywhere between, like, if everybody knows what they're doing and everyone's on top of everything, you're looking at like maybe 1.5 hours to 2 hours. A typical, Monopoly game if you've got nothing else really going on. If you get like deep into the weeds and you're like, no, I want to win this way, or I want to be able to get this specific build going because it's just rolling really good, it could last longer. It also depends on how many. The game was also explicitly built to play by yourself. That's another big function that I really wanted it to be. If you just follow the rules, it does this, it does this. It could be a solo board game, as well as up to, I think the most we've ever had at one time is 6 people. But by all rights, there's no real limit to it because there's also rules for like team play or solo play.
Right. In terms of like a play style, is there a lot of customizational options for players? Like, could you play, a melee character? Could you play a magic character? Because I would assume this is sort of based in sort of a fantasy world.
Yeah. But if I could get a little these are different parts of the game, and then it kind of goes in to how you could play from there. The game starts with 8 base classes, typical RPG fantasy stuff, fighter, rogue, mage, that kind of stuff. Each class has their own specific health value, but they also have their own might and magic. One of the things that is functional in the game, if you beat a monster, you get a treasure card. And that attributes to anything from health, might, magic, or another special thing. You could be a warrior, and your best build is going to be with might. But if all you end up with is magic weapons, you can still use them. It's just you're better at others. But sometimes, luck of the draw, you're only going to end up fully kitted out with magic gear. So if you have the warrior dual wielding like fire blast rods and wearing a wizard's hat, that's who you're going with. Or you could try to barter with the other players. Okay, I just saw that the rogue got the great sword of the Earth Slayer. I want that. Okay, well, what are you going to give me for it? Well, all I have are these magic items. Well, I don't need magic items. I need health items because I'm squishy. It creates a dynamic that you can that really encourages not just party cohesion, but do you backstab someone while they're in the dungeon? Do you take loot off their body? How much do you want to trust this person? There's a bunch of different ways it can go. Also with the armor, it's very Munchkin-esque with, okay, you have a body, you have 2 hands, 1 head, and you have feet. If the armor can fit there normally, you're good to go. But you can't wear multiple hats at the same time because that just doesn't work. But it functions that way, and each of the armors have a very specific. It's not just, oh, this armor gives you health. It might give you health, and it might have an extra ability. So, sure, I could get +5 extra health by wearing the big, thick armor, but this cloak has allowed me to just leave fights and not die. I think I'm gonna hold on to that instead. It's kind of that sort of thing.
Right.
The biggest thing, though, that I think has a lot of mechanical relevance is the backpack system in the game, because every player can only hold 4 items that they're not equipped with.
Oh.
So it turns into, okay, we're in the first floor of the dungeon, and there's so many dungeon rooms we can enter. We've kicked all the doors down, we beat up all the monsters, got all that. I have 1 slot open in my bag because I am just putting this extra loot in the bag. Do we continue down and run risk of dying in the dungeon and losing all my stuff, or do I just bail right now and go back to town and let everybody else still be in the dungeon and let them take care of the rest?
You're at that point. You're bouncing a lot of things. Speaking of which, I wanted to jump a little quick to Alicia. When it comes to DungeonVille, and I know you're very busy because you're doing, you're doing publishing, and you're also doing Nevermore Niche. So you got a lot on your plate. But have you, with the inclusion of DungeonVille, has this sort of ignited a little bit of interest, and have you attempted to play DungeonVille yourself?
I have not yet. Isaac's pretty much had the cards where he's at, and we live several states apart.
That's valid.
But I do want to mention that the one reason that I was really interested in, not only because he's my friend, but also the day and night cycle system that DungeonVille has, to me, seems to be something that's really unique to this type of tabletop thing. Just like, and I think that is kind of what attracted me to the idea in the first place, was how that's going to affect gameplay. So and Isaac's he's got the know-how on all that.
For sure. The day and night cycle was interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, I was gonna say something too. Was the artwork that his artist has done is absolutely adorable, and I think that's part of it too. It kind of reminds me of like if you were to take Core Keeper, if you're familiar with that game, and turn it into a card-based game, it would have a lot of the similarities of art style, and I think that's something too that I really like to see, because I mean, we look at like Magic and stuff, and the artwork's absolutely gorgeous, no doubt. But sometimes you want something that's just a little cute, and that seems to have this aesthetic to it.
I mean, I haven't personally seen the aesthetic. Is it very much? I'm unfortunately not familiar with the game. Is it very like chibi-like, or is it very like almost Studio Ghibli, sort of soft round corners and things like that?
The artist is a really big fan of kind of like the era of cartoons that were like, I think it was called rubber hose animation. Kind of those very
silent, yeah.
Something like that. They're not that far because it's still her art style, but you can definitely see those influences. They can be like hard edges with good shadows and just good composition, but the next one could be just very squishy feeling. They feel very tangible is the best way to describe it. Each art piece feels like it belongs in its own universe, which, granted, that's kind of what I was going for, but tangibility is honestly the best way to describe it. It's cartoonish, but it's also got a little bit of that, I'm making motions with my hands that I don't know how to put into words.
That's fair. Something I've heard. No worries. When it comes to the actual system itself, something is really interesting when it comes to tabletop, and the fact that it is tabletop role playing. There generally is sort of a role playing factor. I know you mentioned that there was sort of magic and might. Is there more of a charismatic or almost a charisma base? A system, or is it something where you allow the players to really go full-fledged and just have them kind of shape the story as they talk?
It's a bit more of the second one. In playing the game, I tend to... I'm the forever DM. I'm the guy who's always running everything anyway, so I kind of have a bunch of hats and masks that I like to wear. And something I have noticed is when a person is playing a specific class, they kind of lean more into how that card is played, and that leads into kind of them giving it a bit more personality themselves. There is plans to eventually have like a mini comic with these actual characters to actually give them their own lore and give them more story. but for now they're mostly player stand-ins. But I have noticed that players tend to lean into those depending on the character. They tend to give them that appropriate type of personality.
Very cool. Is DungeonVille built for sort of quick plays, kind of like little one-shots here and there, or could it be included to be like in a long-form campaign, something that would last a few years?
I can definitely, if everything works great and the crowdfunding goes good, and I have enough to pay me, my artist, Alicia, and we just like, you know what, we did good. I would love to actually turn it into its own like TTRPG module, system agnostic. Maybe make its own. Okay, this can go to anything, but the features of the world come with the rules, so you can just kind of plaster them however you want to do it. That I see as a very real possibility, but it's one of those down the road things. If people want it bad enough, then I'd be very happy to make it happen.
Let's hope for the best. But I'm really interested now. Something I wanted to jump that just sort of once again skipped in my head is Alicia mentioned the day and night cycle. Now, for a card game, a TTRPG card game, what does that mean? That's interesting.
Okay. It's structured that way because it's kind of the starting and stopping of the different modes of play. In the daytime, you're in the village of DungeonVille. You're able to interact with buildings that are in the village. Every night that passes, another building is added to the village, and it's always random. So one day you might get the bank, and the bank has its own specific thing. When the bank is on the field, you can interact with it during the day, and it does XYZ. Or the first thing you might find is the Adventurers Guild. It does XYZ thing, and you can interact with it during the day. And during the day, there is a merchant that like reveals 3 random loot cards, and if you have the money, you can buy them. And I want to buy it first. Well, I want to buy it first. Okay, roll dice. You got the higher number, you get to buy it first. It very, very much like that. And it's also, am I going in solo? Are we teaming up? Who is the leader? Because whoever's leading the charge, that affects how combat works. What's the marching order? Whose team is going in first? All those things are done during the day. And whether it's gearing up, trying to get more stuff to prepare for the dungeon, that's all on that side. Then it transitions into night. Night is when you enter the dungeon. And the dungeon, you put several cards off of the dungeon deck. Okay, the first team is going in here. We choose this dungeon. Okay, flip the card, deal with whatever's on the card. Okay, next team or next person who's running solo. And it continues. And then you keep pushing until everybody is either left the dungeon or is dead. And there is a mechanic for if you die in the dungeon, sure, you lose your stuff, but there is a built-in catch-up mechanic kind of to help you get back on your feet once that's done. And one of the big things is there is not a healing class in the game.
Oh, interesting.
Because otherwise, I want to play the healer. Okay, well, we're just going to keep pumping you full and just keep on pushing. It's not fun to anybody else. It makes one character a meta pick, and it doesn't lead itself to diverse builds. You just kind of want to go for the one thing, and that's it. So the only cleric that's in the game is explicitly stated in the story to never enter the dungeon because it's dangerous in there. I'm going to stay right here, and I'll bring you back to life, but I'm not going in the dungeon.
If I die, everyone else is gone.
Yeah.
Well, whenever it comes to dungeons, anything where you are entering danger, there are threats, there are monsters, traps, what have you, environmental hazards. Do you have a particular monster hazard or trap that you enjoy, at least whether it was building or crafting?
Very much so. Of course, mostly of what populates the dungeon is monsters. That's what you're going to run into most of the time. There are traps that, you flip the trap up, do what's on the card, Do you get kicked out of the dungeon? Do you take damage? Do you just straight up die? Does your armor dissolve? Bunch of different ways that can go. There's also encounters that are the opposite of traps. Oh, you just found random loot cards. Oh, you get a full heal. Oh, you can choose to leave the dungeon unobstructed. There's different things like that. There's also boss cards, which add a whole other layer to the game. But two of my favorite cards, one is a boss card that's basically a king slime. I'm a huge Dragon Warrior fan, huge Dragon Warrior Monsters fan, and I love the slimes from those old games. Anytime I've had the opportunity to make slimes in my own games, I always put them in there because they're super diverse, they're an interesting creature. And the king slime literally is this big sherbet-colored rainbow monstrosity that I think the official card art has him eating a semi-truck. He's just massive in scale, and he came out really good. Another one of my favorite cards is called the Crow Scare. And it started out as this level 0 nothing burger of a monster. And then when my artist gave me the art for it, I was like, this guy is too cool to be a level 1 monster. No, he has lore associated with him. He is too cool for that. And so the Crow Scare is actually going to be on the cover of the game art.
Oh, cool.
So he is one of my favorite characters. Once we get into the more lore aspects of it and the backstories of the different characters, he is a prominent figure in the lore for one of the other characters' backstories as well. So I'd probably say those two, the King Slime and the Crow Scare, are two of my favorite creatures from the dungeon.
Incredible. Well, I'll say here to sort of end this little call, because again, we're just doing a small little chat. Obviously, this is a very interesting game. I love sort of the concept of sort of building this this town as it continues on, as you're able to sort of grow equipment and grow, include different aspects of this game and sort of pushing further down into a dungeon or something dangerous. Where can people find DungeonVille? Like, I know it's currently still in a sort of a crowdfunding phase, but where can people find that crowdfunding?
Currently, we are planning on the end of January actually going live with the crowdfunder. We also have a TikTok, we have a YouTube, and we have a .card that is going to be upgraded into an actual website in post-Christmas month. And that's DungeonVille.card, CARRD.co. And that has any future updates is going to be going there first. And we plan on rolling out some fun stuff in the future with it.
Very cool. And then I'll throw it to you, Alicia. Where can people find your work, and what projects are you working on?
I did want to expand just a little bit on what Isaac was saying about our crowdfunding. We're going through, the plan is to go through backer kit. So, yeah. So we're actually looking for people to, it's a interest gauge, I guess is the best way to put it. We have a page up that you could click, yes, I'm interested in this project. It's kind of the same thing that if you do Kickstarter, has the notify me sort of thing. That's what this is. And we would really love it if people would go check that out. It kind of has a basic breakdown of, they don't allow us to do a whole lot with the page, but it does give you kind of a tiny little tidbit of what you can expect from that. We will also have a video up. Isaac put together a trailer for it, and it premiered during the 13 Days of Krampus showcase. It will be up on the page as well, so you can get some idea of what the cards are going to look like, and he talks about the day and night system and how that works.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, that'll be kicking off at the end of January. We've got 34 days. So, and we have other additional tiers planned. We're looking at about a $6,500 ask. for being fully funded, and we do have very affordable tiers actually that get you, just to start off, get you the game. And then he was talking about the artist pack. I believe that one is at like, just a second, let me look at my thing real quick. The print and play is only $15. So yeah, the artistic pack is $50. It's a blank do-it-yourself deck. So we've got some really great options for ways to help out and to get your hands on this game. So we're really excited to see this take off. And we have further projects planned if this is successful. We talked about doing an art book and a few other things. So yeah, we want people to enjoy this and make it their own. And I think that we have some really great ways to get involved in doing that. So
incredible. Yeah, I honestly, and for everyone watching as well, or if this comes out in a blog, please go check that out. Go check them out. Anything we can do to bump up the TTRPG community and those who are creatives within the space definitely deserve the attention, especially when they're creating something as interesting and as unique as DungeonVille. So really cheering for you guys. Really would love to see that to come to fruition. And honestly, yeah, that's good prices for what you have for the crowdfunding. So yeah, and I once again, before I forget it, just wanted to throw it back to you, Alicia. Anything that you'd like to plug while you're here?
Yes, depending on when this comes out. And it's not necessarily associated with Liminal Pendulum, but it is associated with games in general. We are once again doing the Nevermore Niche Awards. Though the nominations just opened the Friday before. And you can nominate any game that came out that's an indie game that came out during 2025. So we really want to encourage people to pick your favorite indie and get it put up on there. We did make the distinction that we are not allowing the Game of the Year award nominees for the Game Awards. There were 6 games that were nominated, and they pretty much cleaned up like all of the big awards so far. So I wanted to leave it open for much smaller games to get the attention that they deserve, because we know ones like Claire Obscure and Silksong, they were the talk of the town and everybody loved them and or didn't, depending on which. But we want people to nominate the ones that maybe nobody's heard of. And I also encourage developers to nominate their stuff as well, because a lot of times we're overwhelmed with games. I believe the estimate this year was somewhere between 17,000 to 19,000 games released. Oh. And the majority of that are indie games. And so we tend to get overwhelmed with the amount of games that come out. And your game may have been awesome, but it came out in January, and so we kind of forgot about it. And that's not a dig on the game. That's just there's a lot. So please nominate your game, as long as you fit the criteria and that's clearly posted. And I also, if this takes off, I would love to open this up to the TTRPG and mobile game and that that part of it too. So that may be something that we're looking at next year, is adding those categories so that we can recognize those as well, because like you said, there's a lot out there, but nobody really I don't know if anybody really does anything like that. So part of having Liminal Pendulum and Nevermore Niche, they both have the same kind of goals. We want to shine a light on the hidden gem indie games, no matter what those games are. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be just a video game. It can be literally any kind of game. And so that's probably something we're going to consider. So for next year.
Very valid. Yeah. So anything when it comes to your gaming entertainment, feel free to go to Nevermore Niche. Keep an eye out on MonsterShed Games and DungeonVille. And I'm really excited for you guys. Here's to the future. And hopefully 2026 is when we get to see this come to full fruition. And I'm playing with DungeonVille in front of me with all my players. So I want to thank both Isaac and Alicia for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys sitting in and talking about your game. I love hearing about new exciting developments when it comes to the TTRPG industry and what people are making within it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you very much.